Hey everybody, how's it going tonight? This is Right Side Vegan News with Winnipeg Alternative Media. So it's been an interesting week since the last show, full of events every day. It seems like it's something new. So we're gonna go into today. We're gonna have a little bit of the good and the bad. We're some small wins, but where the fight's nowhere near over yet. We're going to start off with with a short video interview from this afternoon or this lunchtime today. We had a phone call yesterday informing us that there was some more tickets to be handed out for a prior event on November 29th. And I'm going to have a video here with an interview with Tobias. And Andy, cue that video up, and we'll start the show off with a little interview.
That's me. Hi. What's that?
We met before, but I'll introduce myself again.
Oh, at that lady's house? Correct.
Yeah, my name's Craig Beaker. I work with Manitoba Conservation. Today I'm working under the Public Health Act.
Okay.
And so I'll be issuing you 3 tickets today.
3?
Yeah, one of them is the reissue of the one from the 22nd, the one from the lady's house. I had made a mistake, and so that one's no longer valid.
How many mistakes are you making?
I made a mistake.
Okay.
So that one has been closed, and so it is no longer valid.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that ticket is no longer.
I find it very odd, though, that you would first give me a warning and then a ticket, like a warning and a ticket for the same event. Can you explain that to me, how that works?
I didn't give you a warning.
Okay, but Public Health did. Not you, but Public Health gave me a warning.
Okay, I'm not sure.
For November 29th.
Oh, for the 29th?
Yeah, and now I'm being issued a ticket for that date. It's what I've been told.
Okay, yes. Yeah. I'm not aware of exactly what all went on there with Public Health.
Okay, but it's still Public Health.
Yeah.
It's still Public Health that issued me the warning.
Okay, I did not realize that. But I'm just doing as I've been instructed, is to issue these 3 tickets. Today. The first one is for the November 22nd. There was a failure to comply with a public health emergency order for the Church of God Restoration Incorporated, 2504 0th Road 34 East, postal code R5G1P6. So on the 22nd of November 2020 at 10:54, there was an arm of Hanover failed to comply with the public health emergency order. And this is under the Public Health Act, P210. I signed and dated it today, the 9th day of the 12th month of 2020. The fine payable is $5,000. We must respond to this date between the 29th of the 12th month of this year, 2020, so it's in December 29th, and the 27th of 01 of 2021. And so this is just the reissue of that ticket from the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give you that. The second one is to you personally, Tobias Thiessen, from 34050 Highway 303 in the arm of Hanover. On the 29th day of November 2020, Hanover failed to comply with the emergency order under the Public Health Act, provincial statute 210. On the 9th day, it's being signed and dated as on the 9th day of the 12th month of 2020. And the fine is $1,296. And then the response period is the 29th day of the 12th month of 2020 and the 27th day of 01 of 2021.
Okay. So quickly getting some tickets out before it's legal. That's how I view it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here. The third one is to the Church of God Restoration Incorporated, 25040 Road 34 Keys in Steinbach, box 336 in Steinbach, R5G 126. On or about the 29th of November 2020 at 9:30 a.m. in the Island of Hanover. Failed to comply with Public Health Emergency Order. This is under the Public Health Act, Provincial Act 210. Signed and dated the 9th day of the 12th month of 2020 by myself. Fine payable is $5,000. The response period is the 29th day of the 12th month of 2020. The final response date is the 27th day of the first month of 2021.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. How does it feel for you personally to hand out a fine to a church and to a preacher for exercising religious freedom like we're instructed in the Bible? How does that feel to you?
I'm not going to respond to that question.
I understand why you can't respond because, frankly, it's against nature. Well, yeah, everybody is just following orders. They were doing it too when they were hailing people to the concentration camps and stuff. They were just following orders too, right?
Well, hopefully this is it.
I hope so too.
Okay, thank you for your cooperation. I do appreciate you meeting us here and just dealing with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. You got my answer to that question?
Which one?
The criminal records one?
Did you send me an answer?
Yeah.
That's text?
Yeah.
I'll have to look. I maybe have to go back and look
the
for it.
short answer is no. You won't get a criminal record.
Oh, yeah, I did get that answer.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
See you.
Yeah, so
3 tickets, Lewis.
Not a chance. Not a chance. So they did figure out that they missed a signature on the first one. So they reissued one for the first one we had.
cool, Andy.
That's why I got 2 on the church and 1 on the personally.
You notice.
Hey, Justin, I'm going to be going.
Everybody notices here once this ends.
When they're gone, and I'm going to do a little recap.
Yep, sure. I'll catch it too.
Yeah. When they're gone, then we'll do that.
Can I see it?
There we go. There it is. Look at, they took their masks off inside the vehicle. Breaking the rules, guys. Breaking the rules.
Same day that they give for the church ticket.
Okay, you know what?
Can I get this one?
Yeah. So as we can see there, it was quite the incident today. Those tickets were for the rally where they blocked off the church access to the church. So yeah, they're giving tickets for like an event 2 weeks ago, and fixing a ticket that they missed. They did a bunch of things wrong on. Also at the end of the video, I hope everybody caught that when the public health officer and the public health officer's security guard got into the vehicle. Did you guys notice how they both took their masks off? I'm pretty sure they probably don't live in the same household, and under the rules, right? And even if you don't live in the same household and you're closer than 6 feet, you're supposed to wear your mask all the time. So it's kind of funny how at the very end I caught that simple shot there of them removing their masks, breaching their own rules in close proximity to each other. It's these guys are hypocrites, and it's crazy how they can attack Pastor Tobias like this. Like it's really shocking. I'm just going to be sharing the screen to go into our first video here. Right here we have the overturning of the rules that they had mandated. Just hang on a second. So yeah, we can see here. Oh, that's why I do that. Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. Just sorry, sorry about that. Life calls. So what do we do here? So yeah, we're here. Okay, so we got this here. So they banned the drive-in churches, and this is so difficult. Thank you. So yeah, we can see here. We can. We can see here that they. Sorry about the little delay there. I had to deal. They removed the ban of the churches after threat of court action. So you can tell with the pressing of the matters that we've been doing with the attending church ceremonies and you know, just being active and going to these events. We've shown that by not backing down, we will, in the end, prevail, I guess you could say. So we can, you know, this is what happened to yesterday. So Justice Center with their emails and I guess with the actions that we kept on putting on, they decided to overturn their ruling. So it's a small win. It's not a big win, but it's a start. So we have, you know, to keep going. You know, we'll be able to attend church without being persecuted. But the next step would be like being able to have protests in general where we're not being ticketed for no reason. So the next thing would be the pandemic shutdown for small businesses. Unfair. Ontario judge ruled. So this was a big one that happened on Monday, and with this one, it's awesome because now we have a judge who's willing to stand up. When before we weren't really having any judges stand up, so it was really difficult to you know, we didn't feel like we had enough support from the legal system, right? So when you don't have that support for the legal system, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Life calls. When you don't have that support for the legal system. Oops, sorry guys. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Yeah, so judge rules that pandemic lockdown is unfair, punishing small businesses while letters big retails remain open. According to Blacklock reporter, the court order a quick hearing on December 3rd challenges the country's largest appliance dealers. So Canadian Appliance Source fought against the public health orders and seek an injunction because they've lost millions in Christmas sales. it's easy to believe that these businesses are losing millions in sales right now when you can't even purchase presents without going into the store. It's quite difficult when you trying to shop just online, and a lot of people do impulsive buying too. So so they started on November 27th, and then December 1st, the lawyers had their mask and sanitizer, just like hardware stores. It's a really good article. And I encourage you to go over it and share it with all your friends and everybody. And once again, always the links will be in the Discord. So always go join the Discord and go onto our website. It's updated new stuff on it every day. So we're gonna go into now the video of my experience at on Thursday at Vita Health. I had a pretty crazy incident, you could say, for the put it least lightly. We had me entering a store doing some quick grocery shopping. I needed some miso and some random vegan ingredients that we can't find at most restaurants. To make some different meals like tofu fish and some other things like that. You got to marinate the tofu in this stuff called miso, and then you marinate it for 24 hours, and then you fry it up in a frying pan and batter it, and you get a good time. So this is what happened to me at Vita Health. Oh, was that you? Were you getting ready there for me?
Okay, you know what?
Can I get this on recording? Can I have your first and last name? First and last name?
Can I stop you right now? Okay, you're going to get the ticket.
No, I'm not, because I have a medical exemption.
Doesn't matter.
What's your first and last name? And I'll be filing a human rights complaint against you and filing a civil litigation lawsuit.
Can I take a picture in the meantime and call
You
the
can
police?
fucking take all the pictures you want.
Okay,
I have a medical exemption. And what is your name? What's your name? Can you tell me your name?
No. Nobody's name is given here.
There's your name, so you're going to go to court.
You're assaulting me. I'm not.
You're assaulting me.
You're taking my.
You're assaulting me. You just assaulted me. You assaulted my cell phone. Call them all you want. You'll find out you're doing against the law. Now ring my shit through.
Get out.
What's your name?
Fuck you.
No.
Fuck you. That's
No.
my name. Fuck you. You are not wearing a mask.
I don't have
You're in
to.
an
I have a medical
establishment.
exemption.
Show me your certificate saying you have medical.
Right here. You want to fucking see it? Look. Right there. Medical exemption. Read the doctor's note. You fucking bitch. Rub my stuff through so I can leave. No, you're refusing me service. What you're doing is illegal, and I'll be filing a human rights complaint against her. She assaulted me and ripped my cell phone out of my hands. This lady is lying.
And basically got in their space and verbally abused.
After she ripped my cell phone out of my hands, stop lying. It's being recorded.
I'm powerless right here.
So you're not going to ring my stuff through?
No, I'm just waiting for my.
You're not going to ring my stuff through?
Can you not hear?
Okay, I'll be filing a human rights complaint against you guys. You will be all going to human rights court. I've already filed them. I'll read you the subsection 16 of the Manitoba Health Act.
Like, there's got to be someone who can help.
No, because you're refusing me service. It's a violation of the Human Rights Code. I have a doctor's note stating I have a medical exemption.
Very loud.
No, I can't. You gonna ring my stuff through or not? No, you don't. What you're doing is a violation, and you can be held for contempt in human rights court. Do you want a $10,000 fine?
I don't know. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's not. It's actually, I've already filed 3 of them.
Justin, is this worth it?
Yes, it is, because I'm fighting for my rights. Are you gonna ring me through or not? Okay, I'll be filing a human rights complaint against you guys. I'm leaving. You are forcing me out of the store because you won't sell me my goods. What you're doing is illegal.
What you're doing is immoral.
No, what you're doing is immoral.
Who's
So just an update here.
We're at Vita Health still. There's the CMP. The Winnipeg police just arrived. We just showed them the video footage that I've shared with Canada and worldwide. So anybody that can share that video, share it worldwide. So the store manager is saying that obviously she's changing her story, saying that they weren't going to refuse me. But you've all seen now from that video what really happened in there. You all have seen the discrimination that someone can face to the point of assault. These rules have made innocent old ladies violent, made them feel like they have control and power and that they are police when they're not police. Everyone should know natural law and right and wrong. Right and wrong states you don't touch somebody else's property and you don't physically assault them, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the person is saying to you, no matter how they're swearing at you. The last thing you should ever do is hit somebody or assault them. By doing that, you commit a crime and you will be held accountable, as far as I'm concerned, to the fullest extent of the law, no matter what your age. You're 60 years old and you want to slap me for not having a mask on, I will press charges on you and I will file a human rights complaint against you. This is unacceptable. And the fact that we've been out here now for an hour, civil disobedience, refusing people into the store, what we have found out that there's other people with medical exemptions that feel the same way and face the same harassment. So it's very important that everybody understands that you stand up for your rights no matter what. You never back down, you never say no. You never just do something to make other people feel good. You hold your ground, you try not to swear, and you try not to get angry. And know that the law is on your side. As much as we don't always agree with certain laws, there's laws to protect us. And when you assault somebody, that is a violation of natural law and the law of rights and wrongs. And if you understand what the meaning of right and wrong is, you would know that you never put your hand on someone else, no matter what the situation is, unless it's self-defense and your life is threatened. So, I mean, if you feel your life is threatened because I'm recording you and your name and I'm going to press charges on you, then that's how you can feel. But you know that if you assault somebody and it's not just and it's not in defense, you will be held accountable. Yeah, that's about all I got to say for right now. The Winnipeg police are going to be investigating. The manager has let the 2 employees that were working go. 1 employee is my cousin, and 1 employee is a person working at the store who assaulted me. Everybody hold Vita Health accountable. Make their phones go off the hook tomorrow and tell them that medical exemptions need to be acknowledged. Thanks, everybody. This is Justin and Right Side Vegan News for WHAM.
Awesome. So yeah, that was quite the ordeal, wasn't it? Looking back on that now, I wish I didn't swear. I mean, it's hard in those situations. I mean, a lot of people said they would have done way worse if they were put in that situation. I'm not saying any sort of retaliation is good, but I mean, I got really frustrated when the guy started yelling at me and calling me a effing this and effing that, and basically telling me that I don't matter and I'm not important. That really is getting old to me, and it's really starting to, irritate me. So it's hard to not have an elevated tone of voice in that kind of a situation. I mean, some people say you could talk in a calm tone of voice, but I mean, this has been an ongoing thing now for the last 3 months for me. To the point, every story I go into, I feel like instantly there's some sort of where's his mask? There's somebody who feels like they have to say something. Almost like they're the hero. I really blame the mainstream media for doing that. It's really brainwashed a lot of people. And as you can see, the mob mentality, what happened in that, when it first started with the 3 employees, with them attacking me, right away, this other gentleman felt like he had to chime in or get his 2 cents in and start telling me this and that. It's funny because the reason they told the RCMP again, the Winnipeg police that I was being told that they weren't going to serve me because I was being vulgar and loud and this and that, but to put it in perspective, a reporter I spoke with from Rebel News said, did you look at how that guy was acting? Did they serve him? I didn't even think about it because I was still just in the thought of thinking of the whole situation, and I didn't think about it. I was like, who, like, did it serve him? Why did they serve him and not me? When clearly that guy was way more vulgar, rude, and belittling to a customer. I only swore once. I had already been completely discriminated, completely told they weren't going to sell me my goods, having the police called on me. Like, I don't know what it is with this attack, but I heard about it today too, and I was getting my car fixed at a really big dealership. The service manager said, "Hey, like, I totally understand medical exemptions. My daughter has a medical exemption. We go into stores. She's the only one in her family who's not wearing a mask, and they're right away staring at our whole family just because my daughter doesn't have a mask. She clearly is in a group of people that doesn't have masks. There must be a reason. Common sense, but common sense isn't so common anymore, as we can find out. And critical thinking's been removed from people. They don't know how to critical think anymore. They have their blinders on, and they're just like, I'm only going to look straight and forwards, and that's it. It's super annoying because that's the kind of situation where it could turn to someone getting beaten down and attacked. And next thing you know, someone's going to get killed just because they don't have a mask on. We saw Randy Hilliard's son get tasered on the weekend as well for for his friend not having a mask on going to get a beer. It's where are we right now? Like, where people think that this is the proper way to act. I hope things get a little bit better. But I could rant on that for a while, but we'll leave it there and we'll go on to some more stories here. We'll do two quick stories here on masks, just because it's, two things that I've pulled up over my time, and, this is what we're talking about. It's a risk to my health to put these things on my face, and there's a reason why I won't do it. Not only because it's like I'm breathing through a straw. Like, if you take a straw, put a straw in your mouth, and breathe through a straw all day long, that's what a person with asthma is like. Now, you put a mask on over that straw. Try that for a day. See how that feels. Before you want to discriminate on asthmatic not wanting to put a mask on. Never mind any one of the other illnesses, PTSD. There's so many reasons why people can't wear a mask. If you're in a confined space and you had your air restricted, like, no way. Like, like, people just considering these people care about other people so much. For them to just pick on the one person who's not doing what everyone else doing is groupthink. It's dangerous, super dangerous. So we'll share the screen again here, and we'll go into another story. We got here a new on October 13th, 2020. CDC finds majority of those infected with COVID always wore masks. Interesting. Once again, it appears that there's conflicting facts and data on opinion of the efficiency of wearing masks to prevent contracting coronavirus. Oops. Okay, easy fix. Yeah. In addition to a skin infection on the face, around the mouth, persistent coughing, mask mouth, and respiratory illnesses, including lung infections, it turns out that most everyone infected with COVID always wore masks. According to a newly published study by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. So, the study found that 74.2% reported wearing masks always, while 14% wore masks often, and 85% almost always wore masks. It's very interesting, eh? The difficulty did not conclude whether non-surgical cloth face masks or face coverings did little to prevent contracting the coronavirus. The virus. We'll just say the virus. I don't like saying the word anymore. Ugh. So, we won't go too crazy into reading it. I'm not a big fan of reading, like, out loud. I stumble over words. So Like I said, the links will be in the Discord. Go to them. The CDC doesn't get any better than this. You know, it looks like they had a pretty good grouping of people. You know, so everybody likes to say studies can be manipulated. And hey, there's not enough studies, like every doctor I've spoken to, about masks. So any study that comes out about masks is valid. So yeah, out of case patients, control patients, 61% reported at least one of the following underlying chronic medical conditions. Oh, here we go. It's a very interesting this article. Cardiac conditions, hypertension, asthma, chronic disease, immunity, psychiatric conditions, diabetes, and obesity. So these are all what you would call comorbidities. These are all those things that everybody talks about, how people aren't dying from, but with. You know, these diseases everybody already had before everything started. And you got to remember, no one's been getting proper health care, proper fitness, or anything to keep themselves healthy and fit. So check that one out. It'll be in the Discord. Moving on. So here I found an interesting study that I had shown some doctors to, basically talking about background of general laundry and bedding in hospital setting. So this is kind of to look into people who wear those reusable masks and wash them at home in the dryers and washers. How many people use the cold wash stuff, right? Not using hot water. Have you guys ever tested your dryer to see how hot it actually gets to kill microorganisms? Those are the words, and pathogens. So this is the parameters for laundry process in hospitals. So we're gonna just go to near the bottom to talk about, you know, the temperatures to destroy microorganisms. Yeah, soaps and detergents function for suspended. Also exhibit some microbial properties. Hot water provides an effective means of destroying microorganisms as a temperature of at least 160 Fahrenheit or 71 Celsius for a minimum of 25 minutes is commonly recommended for hot water washing. So that's very important. Water of this temperature can be provided by a steam jet's separate booster heat. The use of chlorine bleach ensures for marginal safety. How much chlorine residue you should have after for ppms mixed in with the water. Chlorine bleach becomes active at water temperatures of 135 to 145 Fahrenheit or 52 to 67 degrees Celsius. That is something I didn't know, actually. I learned that when I read this article. I was really shocked about that. I didn't know it actually needed a temperature to become active to actually kill these things off. Yeah, the last of the series of rinse cycles, additional of mild acid or sour to neutralize any alkaline water, soap, or detergents. Rapid shift in pH, approximately 12 to 5 is effective. So very interesting article. So this is to all the people wearing reusable masks, not just the throw-out kind, not disposable. Make sure you're washing your stuff properly. Super important. Yeah, we'll save that one for after. So yeah, we're moving right along here. So basically, what we figure out there that there's some evidence, scientific evidence from the CDC showing that people who wear masks are more likely to catch COVID, which goes along with the mask mandate date if we pay attention. When masks were mandated in Manitoba from September 21st onwards, that's when the spike happened. Within those 2 weeks, we double in cases from like 1,500 to 3,000. This is a statistic that's right across the board in every province, state, everywhere that I've seen. Where they mandate masks, it gets worse. If everybody was breathing fresh air, especially in the wintertime, I'm still seeing people carry these masks on their hands. They're not properly handling them. They're, they take it off, they put it on, take it off, put it on. They're not washing their hands in between. It's pointless. Take the masks off. It's not safe. You're causing more bacteria in your face. There's studies that are starting to show this. There's especially people still wearing them in the outdoors. You're not doing yourself any good. Like, I've seen people walking around with a mask on. Like, these masks are going to I'm waiting for the time when the masks get frostbitten to people's skin and they have to cut them off your skin. Because that is something that's going to happen because you're keeping such a fabric so close to your skin. And you ain't got a beard like this. You don't got a beard like this. And if you do, great. The mask ain't going to stick to this. The mask is going to stick to your skin. If you're breathing outside and you're running for an hour with a mask on, it's ridiculous. People, you got to start using common sense, start thinking. So yeah, leading into that, we're going to lead into another interview. My last interview for tonight. I did an interview with Wiess from La Broquerie. He spoke at one of the events. So I'm just going to get Andy to do one more thing for me, and then I'll finish off the stream tonight on my own. So we'll play this interview. It's a great little interview with Lewis about getting ticketed and how he feels about what's going on with current events. Hey everybody, this is Right Side Vegan News with Winnipeg Alternative Media. We're here with Wiess from La Broquerie, and we have some questions for him about one of the protests he attended, and just about how he feels about the lockdowns and everything in general with how things are going. So how are you doing today?
Very good.
Very good. So tell me about the protest you spoke at in Steinbach on November 14th. Why you attended. What was the best part about the protest?
Okay. I guess I didn't really know about the protest. A few days before, I had a phone call. I was actually in Winnipeg, and then I had a phone call and asked if I'd be interested in speaking at a protest in Steinbach. And then I said, well, I don't know what it's about. So the lady explained it a little bit, and she said they had an open spot because there had been a doctor that was going to speak, but the job had been threatened to lose the license from the province. So it was rather unfortunate to hear. But I said I would do it. And so I spoke out there, and it was good. It was, I tried to be friendly and kind to everybody there and speak positive. And of course, I had a bunch of questions for the government, what is the end game to some of this stuff. So, and the best thing about the protest, good question. I guess at the end I ended up getting a ticket, so I didn't actually get to participate in the rally itself because I was kind of busy getting a ticket there. So, yeah. But no, it was good. There was good information. Retired chiropractor spoke, and he was encouraging people to eat good, eat proper vitamins, educate yourself. It's very important to eat healthy, so when sicknesses come, that your body can work against the sickness. So I was very impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, his speech was really amazing. It was really informative too, and encourage the public to do research. And I think that was really important too. He was saying, do the research. Like, here's some ideas, and go look into this yourself. I think that's a really important thing that he spoke on. How did it feel after getting the ticket?
Well, I guess it never feels good to get a ticket. It's one thing that surprised me a little bit. I had a lot of accusations days after and weeks after about how much in danger we were putting the Steinbach people and in the surrounding area because of what we were doing. So I found it kind of strange that we would only have been ticketed after. If it was such a dangerous thing we were doing, wouldn't they have kind of stopped us at the beginning because we were kind of endangering everybody? So it seemed kind of strange, that part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was an interesting event, that's for sure. How do you feel about the RCMP blocking off the Church of God last weekend at their ceremony? How did that make you feel as a citizen of Manitoba and Winnipeg area?
It was actually very disappointing. Like at the rally where I spoke at, the RCMP I don't believe were getting involved with writing of tickets. It was all provincial authority. And now to hear that the RCMP are getting involved in this, it's quite disappointing. So I mean, I guess they have to do it. They don't want to lose their jobs, I expect. So I mean, I feel for them there, but I got a feeling that sooner or later, good people are going to have to stand up, and we may have to quit jobs that we have because of what we're doing to the people around us. And yeah, it was very disappointing. I think according to the charter, we definitely have lost a lot of our freedoms over this state of emergency. So it's very, very strange to me that churches aren't allowed to have services and speak, and even in sitting in your car. So you'd think you'd be able to. I can go to Walmart and we can fill the parking lot right up 2.5, 3 feet apart, and nobody seems to care. But when it comes to worship and stuff like that, all of a sudden it's a dangerous situation.
Yeah, totally. Were you able to see from some news reports how they were able to have their service this weekend in the parking lot, and there was no interruptions, and it was relatively a really well put together religious service, I guess we could say?
Yes. I matter of fact, I was there myself, and it seemed to be they allowed them to have freedom and everything, but unfortunately, I understood it after the media and everybody left. Then they gave him a ticket again. So that was kind of unfortunate to hear. But again, it's after the fact. So if it's a real medical danger, you'd think they would interrupt it like the week before because of how dangerous it was.
Yeah.
So very, very strange mixed messages you get from these kind of things.
Exactly.
So. So it's
definitely. What do you have you heard recently about that letter? Some ministers in different churches across Manitoba have put forward to the Springs Church about ceasing their legal action on the province. How does that make you feel as a citizen?
Well, I always hope that churches would stick together because the Springs, I think, is fighting for all churches' rights.
Exactly.
And every Manitoban, every Canadian's right. I think it's very important. And I think at this time is when they should all be banding together and sticking up for their rights. So it's unfortunate to hear.
Yeah, I totally feel the same way. I think we should all be standing together for something that is so fundamentally like in our charter and what Canada was raised on. It's tough when there's division, when we should be together and unity is stronger.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about the drive-in services with rolled up windows? When we see the province pushing back so much on that, but we see Costco's and Walmart's and these large big box chain stores have basically full parking lots and people going in and out. And we look at drive-in service, your windows are rolled up, you're not interacting with anybody, and the ushers too are relatively social distanced from what I saw. And they're being really respectful. So what's your feeling on that? The kind of the hypocrisy going on, right? From the big box stores still allowing, they say 25%, but in the public eyes, it's very similar to the amount of people that would congregate in the parking lot for a church service.
Yeah, it is that again, it's very disappointing. I've over the summer and of course this fall, I've been to a number of those services, the drive-in services. I've never left the vehicle or felt I had a need to, so I don't understand what the danger would be. In the summer, we even you shut the vehicle off and it's fine. And the ushers, the parking lot attendants, they're just there to make sure everybody is observing the rules. And and they're certainly far apart from each other. So I don't see the problem. And at the shopping stores, yes, there's definitely people going in and out. They're standing in lines, sometimes at the store, in the store, all over the place. So to me, that would be much more dangerous than a drive-in service.
Yeah, more of a high likely to have that close contact where they say, more than 15 minutes close to somebody, you would have more of a chance in a big store. Do you see the province going back on their drive-in service attack that they've been doing? Like I know Mr. Roussin today spoke on. I don't know if you heard. He said that they're going to be adjusting the health order this week. Do you think that's something they might adjust?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm hoping that churches can open up again. This is what we need to see, especially this time of the year. We have the Christmas season coming. It's a very important time to Christian believers and different faiths around the world. It's a time of celebration, and it's unfortunate that these things have been taken away, but maybe we can have them save some face here and do the right thing.
Definitely. And on that, do you know anybody that has been suffering psychologically from these extreme lockdown measures, from being refused access to go to the church, or refused AFM services? I know they took a little while to get back going on Zoom. There was about 2 months where they were down in Steinbach and nobody was able to go to AFM. Do you know anybody that's gone through that yourself?
Well, I guess direct personally, definitely. I imagine the elderly living in care homes and retirement facilities not being allowed to walk in the halls, visit with their friends, really cooped up. My parents included. My mother moved in with us now because, you kind of go nuts. She grew up on the farm, and then we moved them into this kind of a home in a town, and very difficult now you can't visit with your friend down the hall and stuff. So very, very difficult time. I think very damaging mentally for senior citizens. And it's very unfortunate, when you're broken down mentally, when a sickness or a disease or a virus would come to you, are you able to fight it because of the damage your body's in? It's unfortunate, and I know there are suicides, and I've heard some stories personally, and it's a tragedy to hear.
Yeah, totally. What about medical exemptions? Do you feel like government has not done enough to speak on people with disabilities and the mask mandating?
And that is definitely one of the biggest problems I think that Manitoba has. On the website, it mentions it. Unfortunately, they didn't train or give the information to the store owners and managers. I think it would have been a very simple thing. They just tell them there are some people with exemptions. They'll let you know when they come in, and then they inform other customers when they come in. There is someone or a number of people in our store that have an exemption. So just caution, distance yourself from them. And we've assured that they would do the same when we let them in. And I think if a little bit of education would have been done, there'd be a lot less problems. But I'm not totally understanding why they wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
But it's on the website, but somehow they're still ticketing people with these exemptions.
And it's almost pitted Manitobans against each other at the same time, where when somebody sees you without, it's almost like they're implying that you're not a good person, especially with some of the advertisements we've seen on the transit buses in Winnipeg saying, wear a mask to be kind.
Okay.
It's basically implying that you're not kind if you're wearing a mask. So it's really scary the way sometimes they've worded these things and not properly educated. So it's a very good point you brought up.
Yeah, it's interesting, some of the stuff that's going on.
Definitely. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers of Winnipeg Alternative Media and Winnipeg and surrounding areas?
Well, everybody be kind to one another. It's very important. We get 100 years here. Sometimes we get much less. But it's very important, that we're kind to each other, and right now these are hard times, and we're only hoping that things get better in the near future.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this interview today with us. Really appreciate it, and you enjoy the holidays and have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, you too.
And thanks again.
Yes.
This is Justin for Right Side Vegan News and Winnipeg Alternative Media.
Yeah, awesome, eh? What a wonderful interview with Louis Wiess. Yeah, not much more I can say. It was filmed yesterday, so that's why we didn't talk. Like, it's pre the new mandate today, how they spoke on the churches going to be allowed to have the drive-in. So, excuse me, it's just showing that if everyone sticks to it, we're gonna get there, right? I wish Springs Church would have just held to it and done their service on the Sunday, because we proved that if we would have backed down, they probably wouldn't have backed on it, right? I mean, we had Rebel News there, Rebel News there, and they they did a wonderful job reporting. Kian got right up there. He got right in those guys' personal space, and he was like holding them accountable for their actions. And he did a wonderful job at doing it. He pressured them. He made them nervous, and they went back, and they ended up changing their order. And that's why it was so important to be there today. That's what's going on. So yeah, I really thank Lewis for the interview, and yeah, share that interview with everybody. They're gonna probably we're gonna make a video on its own and share it with people. And he really speaks on a lot of the current situations we've been dealing with. So yeah, going back into some stuff we got here. So we're gonna get into Manitoba purchased these new high risk DQ. I just was going to touch on this a little bit because I'm concerned that these machines are just basically another way to get more of a caseload in the province. This machine, it's got some. I got a couple different articles on it with some interesting little disclaimers that they put in their service manuals and their manuals. So they really rave on this machine being a high accuracy. They say 95%. So there's still a 5% chance. So 5 out of 100 are false. So they say. I would argue this because they're still testing at a high cycle threshold on these machines. And in the disclaimer, they also speak on there's potential for cross-contamination within the tray. So yeah, in going into it, we'll just go looking into this. Limitations. The high-risk machine can only detect the presence of SARS-CoV-2 within there we go. Detect within its detection limit and pursuant to its specifications. So yeah, it's to its specifications, basically saying what it's specified for. So it's controllable by like they can set the parameters for the machine, so they can basically. I'm worried they can manipulate it for what they want. So they're already saying that there's limitations. They can only detect within the limitations. And then somewhere in here it talks about if the user has any medical yeah, so I think this was the article I was just saying how it says detection limits. So there's some key words to really watch out for when in these articles. So yeah, they can have 24 samples in one thing, 6 samples simultaneously, 1.5. So it looks like it's a fancy machine, but at the same time, like I said, when they say that they have limits to certain specifications, I don't know. To me, these are red flag words. While the chance of COVID transmission may be reduced in such instances, a negative result from the high-risk system does not guarantee whether a person in contact with a surface may or may not develop COVID. So yeah, so it's it's just concerning, right? So that's the first one, and then we can go into the data I've pulled up from these machines in their testing over the last 2 years. It's not a machine that's just came out of the blue. They've been around since this is from 2018, and you can see here in here that the cycle number here, they're still testing in between this 30 to 35, you know, 30 to 30, 30 to 40. So that's concerning because those numbers are a lot higher than what the CDC recommends. A lot of this machine can be dealt with apps. So, you know, there's transferring of data between machines. And, you know, if we look at like some of the stuff going on, how, you know, data can be manipulated, it's concerning. So yeah, this one is just showing, you know, the fact that on these tests that they're still testing at this high cycle threshold, and what they're using the machine for. And then here we go. This one is talking about the cycle thresholds again. So it's just different things for people to go through. And oh yeah, this is the one where it shows the graphs where they tested different dyes and samples for calibration, and you can just see where the cycles are, right? When I'm going to show the next paper where it shows what the CDC spoke on what you should be testing at, we in Canada are over here high in the scale, where we are up in the 40s, in the 30s and 40s. Manitoba's going at 40. And that's very, the runs performed at 40 cycles for PCR amplification, you know, you have a higher chance of false positives. So, you know, these are scary things to think about this new machine they're going to start using, where they can, because they haven't stopped the case thing. They have to get back to actual hospitalizations to give us the numbers and, you know, what comorbidities are. I think those are all very important factors that aren't being talked about. Because as you can see, as you get into these higher numbers, every time the more amplification, the higher the positivity rate, as you can see in these graphs, right? That's what we've seen with the studies. And this is the study that I refer to. So this study is from the Infectious Disease Society of America. What's the date on here? You know, it even talks, look at this, University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, and Canada. You know, we were one of the places that did this study. I never even caught that before. I didn't read this little article. So CADAM, Provincial Lab, Manitoba Health, Winnipeg, Canada. So the Manitoba Health, Winnipeg, Canada, Department of Pediatrics, the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, Canada, Public Health Agency, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. What did they state here? In conclusion, SARS-CoV-2 viral cell infectivity was only observed at the 24 and 8 days in infectivity of patients with CT lower than 24. So, you know, what symptoms may be lower. Information can inform the public health guidelines. So the results, I guess this is what I was supposed to read. Out of 26 samples, the states of the growth, median tissue culture infection, there was no growth in samples with a CT less than 24 for 8 days. This demonstrated the odds of ratio of positivity viral culture, 95% confidence. So, you know, in the long story short, this is talking about the higher the CT, the higher CT, the more of the higher false positive, the ineffectivity in the test. So it's a very interesting paper I had ran across. I had actually shown this one to a doctor, and he hadn't seen it before. So he was really shocked about to see that there was actually a study on the effectivity of the PCR test for a higher cycle threshold. So I don't know, we'll go over this paper. It's an interesting thing to check over. The results are your best area to go check out. Once again, it'll be in the Discord. So this is going into some of the common things that are being talked about right now. This is by Tony Mirta. I know he's been on WAM before. I actually just did an interview with him. And I learned some interesting facts from him that have to do with, something that's going to be distributed in the next little while. So this is something to think about. There's a vegan aspect to this, and also, I guess, a chemical aspect of this that could be poisoning you. So, if you don't like these certain proteins being put into your body, you would be appalled of this and where they're coming from. So we'll watch this quick video here. And
I just released some data to the Centers for Disease Control, to the Food and Drug Administration, to the National Institute of Health, and to the World Health Organization through my U.S. Senator Gene Shaheen in New Hampshire. And I looked at vaccines. And proteins like egg protein to grow the vaccines, or gelatin as used in agar to grow the vaccines. Also, gelatin is added as an excipient to vaccines to keep the vaccine in suspension. It's a stabilizer for the vaccine. They put gelatins into vaccines. So I got thinking about that, knowing that what I found in the laboratory with pig bones and skin, and with cow bones, and also from Monsanto's data of the tissues, that my chance of finding glyphosate in vaccines were pretty high, seeing that most of the glyphosate was bioaccumulated in the bone. That's where we get gelatin from. So I analyzed popular vaccines. I analyzed vaccines from Merck, from Sanofi Pasteur, from GlaxoSmithKline, from Novartis, from Wiess. I analyzed the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, the diphtheria and tetanus and pertussis vaccine, the hepatitis vaccine, pneumococcus, the influenza vaccine. I also analyzed the shingles vaccine, the chickenpox vaccine. I analyzed multiple vaccines from multiple manufacturers, and I even included multiple laboratories looking at the same vaccines, so that that I wasn't just looking at a single dose. So I developed a lot of data from multiple vaccines, multiple runs from multiple manufacturers, all vaccines involving gelatin and egg proteins. And what did I find? Well, I found that Merck's Zostavax vaccine, which is a shingles vaccine, is contaminated with glyphosate. I found that the Merck MMR2, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, was contaminated with glyphosate. 2.9 parts per billion. Multiply that times the trillion molecules number, and it's really significant how many trillions of molecules are in a dose of that vaccine. I also analyzed the Merck ProQuad measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, which has the varicella vaccine as well. The ProQuad also was contaminated with glyphosate. I analyzed the GlaxoSmithKline Energex B hepatitis vaccine. That vaccine was contaminated with Monsanto's glyphosate. I analyzed another Merck MMR2 vaccine and found 3.7 parts per billion glyphosate contamination in another run. I also reanalyzed the MMR-V vaccine from Merck. That was contaminated. The Veravax, varicella chickenpox vaccine from Merck, that was contaminated with glyphosate. The Zostavax, the shingles vaccine, you see the commercial on television, get this one done. The shingles vaccine, It's contaminated with glyphosate. I analyzed the Adacel diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis shot vaccine given to children, the Sanofi Pasteur version of the DTaP. That's contaminated with glyphosate. I analyzed GlaxoSmithKline's hepatitis B recombinant vaccine. That's contaminated with glyphosate. I analyzed the flu vaccine, influenza, Fluzone Quad from Sanofi Pasteur. That's grown in chicken eggs. It's contaminated with glyphosate. What else? Another MMR vaccine, 2.963 parts per billion glyphosate. Most of the vaccines I analyzed are contaminated with glyphosate. Now we're exposing the population to this. This is why I sent a letter through my senator, Jean Shaheen, here in New Hampshire, to alert her and for her to alert the Centers for Disease Control, National Institute of Health, and the Food and Drug Administration. I also alerted the United Nations World Health Organization of the Americas, their Washington office. I alerted the director. In the past week, all of these agencies have received my data in a letter that I sent to our senator. I haven't heard back yet. I'm expecting to hear their response, but we have a serious problem in the global.
Wow, that's a very interesting information. Yeah, so I had met Tony through this interesting times we're in, and I did a little interview about my experiences at the grocery store, and he informed me about this research he had done. And I was really quite shocked, as obviously as a vegan, I never heard of the proteins for vaccines being coming from the lowest quality animal agriculture eggs. These aren't your free-run chickens. These are your lowest quality battering cage laying hens, the ones that get treated the worst. No room to move in shitty conditions, and they're using those for the protein for the vaccine. Whoa. Then gelatin. Who knew the stabilizer in the vaccine is gelatin animal bones? And so because they're using these animal products, you wonder, why is there glyphosate? So I'm going to explain that to you as a farmer, why there's glyphosate. So animals, when they go to eat animal food in the farm, as a farmer, I did this job. I know this ins and out. The crops animals eat are filled with glyphosates. I tell you, that's how they grow them. They have their GMO seeds. That's what they feed animals because they want these crops to survive small frosts. They want them to survive waterlogging, and they want them to survive the Roundup they use to kill the weeds in the field to stop other things from growing. So not only are the animals eating genetically modified crops, they're eating that are laden with glyphosate chemicals, plus the chemicals from the farms, whether it's a chicken farm or whatever farm it is. They're putting all kinds of chemicals onto the fields. And then the animals eat all this stuff. And then what happens when the animals consume it? They become what they eat. You are what you eat. Everyone heard of that before? So because you are what you eat, the animals become bone density with the glyphosates. And same with the eggs, because the proteins in the eggs end up having the glyphosates that the chickens are eating. So this is where glyphosates end up in your vaccines. And, the flu shot was in there. Everything was in there. It's scary. I added it all up. Then I was like, I gave my kids how much glyphosate? Holy schmoly. So, very, very interesting information. Use it for how you want to use it. If you don't want glyphosate in your body, which is super detrimental to your health, it is known to have genetic conditions down the line from you. So you might not be affected. Your kid might get affected, but his kid has even more of a higher chance of being affected just because you took glyphosates and it altered your body from, generally from most of the research that's been done in glyphosates. It destroys your microbiome of your body also. It's horrible stuff. And that's why eating, organic, healthy food that's not processed and genetically modified is so important. Rant about veganism today. A little info for everybody. Vaccines are created with the lowest quality animal protein from animal chicken farms, and all the bones from beef and pigs get ground up, boiled to create gelatin, and that's the stabilizer used to stabilize the vaccine. So interesting information for everybody today. Oh, I didn't hit screen share. So going back into some screen sharing. So this was just released. This is very interesting. Warning for women should not get pregnant at least 2 months after getting the vax. Very interesting. That's being recommended by different groups that you should be careful when thinking about conceiving a child after being vaccinated. So, if you do take it, which, I'm not judging people if they do. If they want to take it, take it. It's up to you. You put what you want to do in your body, and I'll do what I want to do with my body. There's no judgment. It doesn't matter. And I'll give you the information. You learn from it. But to me, this is scary. Well, why are they warning you that? What is the adverse effects? Have they tested them? How did they know that there could be adverse effects to children that are could be growing during this time? So I'll share this in the Discord. I thought it was an interesting article that's been going around. From what I heard, it's pretty legit, and a lot of the research shows that it's really hard on our bodies when we inject ourselves with certain things, whether there's good or bad. I mean, it's for everybody to make that decision on their own. So we're going to change topics into some weather. Just because it's been so nice out, and where's the snow? So just on Tropical Tidbits here. It's a good website to get a better analysis of weather forecast in our areas. So we'll run the model through here, and it'll go into Saturday and Sunday. So this is snow accumulation, total snowfall accumulation on the ground. So I'll actually pick the one that's going to run right through into next week, around just before Christmas. So when we go into the models this far, this might not happen. This is, reaching pretty far out there, to say this at least that we could get that storm on the 24th. So I know all the kids would be really happy to see that kind of snowfall for Christmas. We can only hope that we can have a white Christmas, kind of make things a little more fun around here. There's not much snow to go tobogganing and have any fun outside. This is a fun little website to play around on to get, up-to-date weather information. I mean, this is the information that most weather forecasters use to predict their weather. So instead of relying on their guesses, just kind of make your own guess. I love watching these things to kind of give an idea of what's going to be coming for the next couple of days. It's always best to stick within the first 3 or 4 days. So, going in the first couple of days, we're going to see possibly some snow, for the weekend. But it looks like Sunday for the service on Sunday morning, it looks like we're going to have a nice day. Doesn't look like much snow, so I don't know what the temperature is. But, it's a fun little website. So I'll share this one in the Discord as well. Oh, it's gone up since I made my since I set this all up. So we had a coronal mass ejection today, or was it last night? I'm not sure the exact time that we had the coronal mass ejection, but you can see the space weather is starting to get us. We got up to KP4 today. So as you remember, I don't have the chart up right now. I should have had it up with what the effects of KP are on our body. No, it's not on here. So it's a fun little website where you can get your information from the about what's going on with space weather. So basically, when we're on KP0, we are more intuitive, more telepathic, more more creative. Also, it can cause more anxiety, depression, erratic behavior. And as we come up on the KP, it can cause more instability in a person too, with more erratic behavior. The good spot is always in the middle here, around 1 and 2. That's kind of a nice area to float around. As soon as you get into the yellows or bottoming out on the KP0, that's when we start to get more effects down to us. And again, that ends up coming back into our magnetic field weakening, which we spoke on last week a little bit. I have a little video at the end that's going to kind of explain about the magnetic field and how it works. I'm by no means a scientist. I'm just a citizen journalist reporting on things that I found really interesting. And, I'm going to refer you to geologists and scientists that I follow that I find give you a good information and, gives you some stuff that we never learned. So this is the CME we got. As you can see right there, you see the CME go. Let's see that little boom. So it's going to come right here, boom, and that's Earth. See this this little white circle here? I think it's like white or yellow. That would be Earth. So these are this is the solar winds coming around the sun here. That's the solar winds, and that's a CME. That burst. So boom. See that burst with that wave? That's a CME. That's a coronal mass ejection, and that's what's caused that spike in the planetary K index. So this is the stuff I talk about. That if we were to get a solar flare that gets up to like X range, like in the X range is the high solar flares. That's when we can start to see more issues. So in looking at the magnetogram, these are solar spots. So it's the mixing of these two sections that causes those booms. So what you'll see is like a blue section that'll start to form in here. We don't really have any right now because it already did its thing a little earlier on. But as we can see here, these are those spots we were just looking at. And so it's the mixing of these events that can cause the CMEs. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff. As you can see, there's the impact at 150 UTC. We had a spike in magnometer, and we also, if we look to, you can see the spike in all these other things. We had the BZ go crazy here. It went up and down, up and down. We had our density jump right away. We had solar speed. This is the wind speed. It jumps up. And the temperature jumps. So all this stuff has effects on our Earth. It has effects on volcanoes, earthquakes. Yeah, so it's a real fun website. We'll always keep coming back to this as we're in the ground solar minimum and a magnetic reversal. These CMEs will cause more effects and perturbations on our grid. If we were to get a strong enough an X flare, it would, whatever side of the Earth that it hits, would cause basically a power outage. It would cause a power failure in the grid. Cell phones, we would lose everything. We would actually go to a stone age in those situations. You have some time, so it's nothing. So from the time that it gets here to here, I think it's 12 or 14 hours. So we have a little bit of time from the time it happens to be able to prepare. It's not lots, but if you pay attention to these things, you might be ready, and yeah, be able to do something about it. So yeah, I find this stuff all super interesting. So I'm going to play a little video from Magnetic Reversal News. It's really it'll just give you guys a good information. And I got two more, this one and one more, and then we're going to end the show. So this is just a nice little information, and I got a good funny story to end it off. So this will explain the magnetic reversal and what's actually going on.
Earth's magnetic field has been acting quite strange recently, hasn't it? Well, maybe you haven't heard. But new satellite data from the ESA, the European Space Agency, has revealed that the mysterious anomaly weakening Earth's magnetic field continues to evolve. The most recent observations showing we could soon be dealing with more than one of these strange phenomena. What are those phenomena? Well, satellites may be in danger as Earth's magnetic field weakens. Now, the South Atlantic anomaly is a vast expanse of reduced magnetic intensity in Earth's magnetic field, extending all the way from South America to Southwest Africa. Since our planet's magnetic fields acts as a kind of shield from cosmic rays and other harmful elements from space, protecting Earth from solar winds and cosmic radiation, in addition to determining the location of the magnetic poles, any reduction in its strength is an important event we need to monitor closely. And if you're looking at the data here, which is looping, the South Atlantic anomaly in the magnetic field, you may consider a hole. The people underneath of this hole are being bombarded with cosmic radiation and other harmful things. Pretty sure their local news is not reporting on that. But at present, there is nothing to be alarmed about according to the mainstream. The European Space Agency notes that the most significant effects right now are largely limited to technical malfunctions on board satellites and spacecraft, which can be exposed to a greater amount of charged particles in low Earth orbit as they pass through the South Atlantic anomaly in the skies above the South American and South Atlantic Ocean. Now, it's not easy just to readjust the orbits of things. So this is going to be problematic. Now, luckily, it's not in North America where I live. Hopefully, it's not where you live, because this could literally be the jumping off point or the falling in point for objects in space. It could actually be cut down here and fall off left or right. So South Africa could be a major strike zone. This is only going to increase in size as the magnetic reversal continues. But what else do they have to say? The magnitude of the anomaly should not be diminished, according to the experts. In the last 2 centuries, Earth's magnetic field has lost 9% of its strength on average, and the European Space Agency says, assisted by a drop in minimum field strength in the South Atlantic anomaly from approximately 24,000 nanoteslas to 22,000 nanoteslas over the past 50 years, exactly why this is happening remains a mystery. But if you read other mainstream articles, you're going to find out that they think that the iron core is sloshing around. Now, research has shown the Earth's magnetic field is constantly in a state of flux. No one knows why it is generated or how it is generated. And every few 100,000 years, give or take, Earth's magnetic field flip-flops, with the north and south magnetic poles swapping places. Well, the periodicity of a polar reversal on Earth, a full polar reversal, where north goes to south and south goes to north, is almost 1 million years. But what happens more frequently than that are magnetic reversals, and we're living them. These magnetic perturbations, magnetic excursions, well, they're mass extinction events. And the fact that they're now warning that the tens of thousands of satellites may be affected and plunged to Earth, well, we've been warning for that for years. So the mysterious anomaly weakening Earth's magnetic field seems to be splitting. And that's getting a lot of people, well, wetting their pants. Here are the current positions of the pole. This one's just over Siberia. This one is left Antarctica and is headed towards Australia. Both of the poles are destined to meet at the star somewhere west of Indonesia in just a few decades. What does that mean for you and me? Well, let's come look at some of the data we know about. These are the known magnetic excursions for the last 72,000 years. And they are quite periodic and episodic. Approximately every 12,000 years, there is a magnetic excursion which causes extreme reduction of species and the introduction of new species. it might even be driving the evolution on the planet. So evolution may be driven by the influx of cosmic rays. During these magnetic excursions, our magnetosphere wanes to 5–10%. And the cascade of UVA, B, and C and cosmic radiation is unfathomable. Now, what we do know about cosmic radiation is that it can affect the deoxynucleic acid in humans, the DNA. And this may cause spontaneous, evolution in the form of mutation or exaptation, however you want to swallow it. Now, today is the global warming magnetic excursion. 12,000 years ago to Gothenburg, 23,000 years ago, Lake Mungo, 35,000, Mono Lake, 45K ago, Lachapelle, 60,000 years ago, Vostok, and the 72,000 year ago, North Atlantic anomaly. Now, we know this is happening. Why do you care? Because it's about to hit the fan. Not today, not tomorrow. It's already happening in our lives worldwide. But the bigger event is coming.
Really? We're not doing ads, guys. So yeah, basically, that's where I get some of my information, and it's some really good information. So I'll share that link with you guys after. I thought this was just a hilarious story that I just had to share with everybody because this made me laugh. U.S. signed Alien Galactic Federation to experiment on humans. Claims Israel ex-military space chief in bizarre interview. You gotta love it. So the former head of the Israeli military space division has claimed that Tel Aviv and Washington have contacted the Galactic Federation of extraterrestrials, but that mankind is not ready for the truth about life in the cosmos. Yeah, this is a pretty fun article. Take it for what it is, but I mean, I got a kick out of it. They want to make us understand. They want to make us sane and understand first. They waited until today for humanity to evolve and reach a stage where we would understand that space and spaceships are, what space and spaceships are. I got a good kick out of this one. So this will make everyone laugh. Share it around with your friends. Kind of a nice way to end the night. So yeah, I hope that was a good mix of information for everybody tonight. I hope this is a good one that made everybody kind of giggle a little bit. It's a good time when you have good articles like that. So yeah, I kind of nailed what I was going for. About an hour and a half, so 90 minutes. I hope everybody kind of enjoyed all that information. Half hour on, half hour, 40 minutes on current events and stuff we're going through right now. And a little bit of space weather, get ourselves weather in general, right? Something different, something we're not really thinking about. Maybe it has an effect on people's mental psyche of how people are dealing with things. The interesting fact, the day that my incident happened was actually KP0. So KP0 on the chart is more emotional instability, more erratic behavior. And it's weird because I've noticed that with a lot of incidents like that that happen. They'll happen during a KP0 time. Or strokes and heart attacks are known to happen at the higher KPs, 7s and 6s and stuff like that. A really well-known, I can't remember the guy's name right now, person involved in space weather and stuff like that and astrology. He actually got a stroke, and he was one of the researchers on this kind of stuff during a high KP time. So, these are all interesting things. There's more to this world than we think and that we've been told. And, that's why we are out there searching for the news and doing that research on our own. We can't rely on people to, tell us things. Don't rely on what I say. Go and do the research on your own. Read the articles, see what you think, see your take on the articles. Maybe you'll have seen something I didn't see. You know, I really am interested in the fact that, you know, a lot of studies have talked about the CTs and how the CT threshold of PCR tests are too high. And I think that would change the narrative instantly. I mean, we can't have eradicated the common cold, the common flu. It's impossible. Like, how do we have no flu cases? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And, you know, the funnier part is, I don't even know if it's funny anymore, but how do people believe that and go along with it? Maybe it's got something to do with the space weather. Maybe we're just not thinking clearly. Maybe it's affecting us. It's hard to say. I hope you guys all had a good night tonight. Yeah, I hope you guys keep doing that journalism. Get your phones out, pull your phones out, record every incident. You never know when you'll catch something that could make some news and tell the truth and some you know, turned around. Yeah, thanks. I don't know if you wanted to come on, Andy, and, you know, close the show out, or if you're just ending the show. Remember to go on to Winnipeg Alternative web. There's that donate button. I remember Sean Henry's show yesterday. He was talking about the donate button. I don't have like a little list to read out, but I know there was a donate button if you want to donate. All the videos will be up on the website, backed up, and, you know, check the website out. I think we're talking about getting some gear, some clothing. Comment on the things that you would like, and I'm sure we'll get to that point. Support us in any way you can. I hope everybody has a good night and have a good week, and we'll be back in a week with some more Right Side Vegan news. Have a good night, everybody.